I'm here today to talk about doing the unreasonable thing. I'm very excited because I'm going to be speaking with Lisa Sykes today. We're going to be talking about why it's entirely reasonable to be unreasonable, particularly if you are a creative visionary, an entrepreneur, a visionary leader, a creative leader who has a desire to create big change. And maybe that's big change in your world, maybe that's big change in other people's world. Hi, lovely.
Hello, my darling. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you today?
Good.
So, bit of backstory for people who've just joined. Lisa and I sort of started having a chat in a comment thread or something a few days ago on Instagram. We don't know each other
Literally.
at all. We do not know each other. And last week when I did this, I also spoke to somebody that I didn't really know, who I'd connected with the day before on Instagram. And one of the reasons I'm finding this really exciting is that my thing is all about visibility and not being too scared of the internet and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And what I'm discovering is, whilst, you know, the internet we know can be a vicious place, it can also be this incredible, wonderful place where you stumble across like-minded people, or you stumble across people whose way of thinking is quite different from yours. And that can be very activating and exciting and fun and playful, and you just get to muck about with it, and it's not that deep, it's not that serious. You can have a chat with somebody you've never met before, and so far it hasn't been a shit show. It's been great.
I love it. I love it. You know what? The internet gets such a bad rap sometimes, doesn't it? And my experience of the internet is really like summed up in what you've just said there. Sometimes you just find people, and that comes through like being willing to be visible
Yeah.
as well, obviously. But sometimes you just find people, and like if you can stay open to that, there's limitless possibilities of where that can lead in terms of like conversations, new understandings. Like the sky is not even the limit on that. I actually love the internet, even though there are certain moments, or there's been certain moments where it's felt like some level of pond scum has come to the surface. Do you know what I mean? And that's usually when something is really, as you know, viral, or really like controversial. But overall, I find it a really cool place.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that, you know, there are so many things that I have learned about it, particularly in the past like 7 years, that I just wouldn't have known about if it wasn't for spaces like this. So as much as it does my head in, and we can moan about the algorithm and it can be a bit shitty sometimes, it can also be incredible and amazing. And kind of bringing us back to what I wanted to talk about today, about doing the unreasonable thing. I think one of the things that this space and being online has opened up to me is the reality of the possibilities for women like me. You know, I'm not 20, I'm not at the beginning of my career. I don't have like one obvious talent. I'm not Serena Williams or Beyonce, you know. So, you know, I am somebody who's figuring it out, working it out. And over the past 7 years, to be able to see other women stepping into things like that, but also other women talking about things like money, things that are a taboo in my real life circle, you know, has been really, really refreshing.
Yeah.
I didn't know until I heard women talking about it here in this like supposedly pretend space, that you could, for example, make tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of pounds a month doing what you love.
Oh,
I really didn't know it. I certainly didn't know anyone doing that in real life. I knew men who were CEOs of companies and self-made millionaires. I knew women who were working hard, struggling hard, trying to make payroll, tearing their hair out. I knew those women. But I didn't know women who were just really doing the thing that they fucking love, creatively, brilliantly, and making plenty of money doing it. So it's opened my eyes to that. And it's also opened my eyes to the fact that that's still an unreasonable idea for a lot of people. So that's
Totally.
one of the unreasonable things I want to talk about, is women actually making money.
So a little bit of like context for me. So I was thinking this morning when I knew we were coming on to talk about this, I was like, I can think of so many unreasonable things that I have done in my life. And, you know, like dating right back to leaving school. I was 15 when I left school. And one of the first unreasonable things that I did was I put myself forward at sort of 16, nearly 17 for a job that was reserved for graduates. And obviously at 17, I hadn't even been to university, and I haven't been to university. And by being unreasonable and being like, I know what it says here, I know what the expectation is, but I'm actually going to say, I think I can do that.
Yeah.
It kind of, that was like a catalyst for lots of other like events that happened around my work and my career and all of that stuff. But I think fundamentally, so if you fast forward and then rewind 14 years, I threw the towel in on my corporate life to become a doula. Actually, in 2003, I threw it in on the corporate life. I was a business analyst and I didn't even know what I wanted to do. I was just like, I don't want to do this. And I want to do something that either makes a difference or I really fucking enjoy, but I also would like to make some money as well. And that ended up, long story short, with me going all in on becoming a doula. And one of the unreasonable expectations that I had was that I wanted to make money doing that. And what we've been told by society is things that are caring, nurturing, or creative. No one gives a shit about them, and they're not worthy of like proper remuneration.
Mm-hmm.
It's the starving artist,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's the unpaid or low paid caregiver. And I was like, I am actually not available for that life. And
Yeah.
I think what you said here is that, well, what I'm hearing is there's been actually a mass awakening, I think, in the last few years, or I'm certainly, maybe it's just the bubble that I'm existing in, where people are going, actually, who made that fucking rule up?
Yeah.
Who made that rule up, and who said that caring, nurturing, and creative jobs should be financially fucked?
I feel that so deeply. And, you know, the people that I work with are the people who intersect those areas. They tend to be creative. They might consider themselves an artist. And at the same time, they are working in the realm of healing, self-improvement, you know, however you want to label it. They want the world to be a better place,
Yeah.
and they want people to experience more joy and to experience themselves and express themselves fully. Those are my
Yeah.
kind of people.
Yeah.
So somebody who's creating artwork, somebody like Sarah who's watching at the moment, creating large scale fiber art pieces, it's still about connection. It's still about humanity. It's still about heritage. It's still about being connected to the land and nature. And it's about a movement.
Yeah.
And that work is so important. Now, this like blows my mind, but it's brilliant. I've been researching for a book about creative expression.
Right.
And in the process of researching for that book, I first started interviewing loads of women because I work with loads of women. And I had the assumption, oh, you know, everybody's got this starving artist, struggling artist mentality. No, they don't. So this is very interesting. The majority so far, and I say so far because I haven't interviewed every artist on the planet, of the women I've interviewed have expressed that that's a very deep wound that they have.
Yeah.
But I've spoken to a few, and in particular the blokes, and I interviewed an artist a few weeks ago, um, Donald Donald Robertson, who's an artist in
Yeah.
America, and he said to me, my goal is to live like an artist and earn like a banker. And I thought, fuck me, I've never heard anyone say that before without any shame, you know, without any hesitation. And I thought, why the hell not? Why is that so activating for us? And I think it's exactly the same thing in the world of, you know, doulas, healers, people like that. I think women and people who are socialized as female at a young age have a disproportionate tendency to feel like we owe the world this work.
Yeah, totally. That's what it is. And that somehow that you can't have both. You can't be having a massive impact and a massive income. It's you've got to choose between doing that vocational, you know, healing, supportive, nurturing, caring, whatever, however you want to label it, work, but it comes at a price. You know, that's the narrative. And I think that people are starting to realize that that's just a conditioned belief. That's just a conditioned belief. And like you say, that in particular has been a narrative that's been laid on women and people that have been socialized as girls and women. Because we're not supposed to be unreasonable, are we? And we are supposed to be nurturing, and we are supposed to be kind, and we are supposed to be putting everybody before ourselves. And all of that other stuff is just reserved for other people that are doing other things.
Yeah. And you have to fight hard for this. You really do have to fight hard for this. You know, I always feel like I've done a really good job with my girls to instill confidence in them and things like that. Yesterday, I went with my eldest. It was her 15th birthday, and we went to get our nails done. We got our nails did,
Love.
right? And she had hers done, and her nails are quite short. So she was a little bit gutted that hers weren't going to look like mine because they're really short. But they've made a mistake on her nail, and it's sort of like, you know, when the gel just sort of melts off the side and it
Yeah.
sort of looked like that. But she didn't say anything until we left the salon. And then she showed me and she was really upset about it. And I went, well, why didn't you say anything? And it was because she didn't want to make a fuss. She didn't want to stand out. She didn't want to be unreasonable. She didn't want to be that person. She didn't want to criticize, right? And so we walked around the lanes in Brighton for 20 minutes talking about why it's okay to make a
Yeah.
fuss. And I said to her, you know, you could afford to be ruder, because she was all upset. And I just was trying to cheer her up. I said, you can afford to be ruder. And I went, right, we're going to go back in there. I'm going to ask them to redo that nail.
Right.
It's not right. And of course they were completely fine. And they went, yeah, we'll do it. But I think it's just so instilled in us that we receive some kind of social societal reward for shutting up, putting up, being good, not making a fuss. You know, and if it's instilled in us on the minute level
Yeah.
of, I don't want to complain that this pinky doesn't look right, then how does that translate into the bigger picture things that we're doing?
Honestly, you know, speaking of like having conversations, I have two daughters and a son, and you know, these are the things that we also get to talk about. But there's also another kind of darker layer, isn't there? Because there's a layer of our safety that's coming into this. So I consider myself to be outspoken. I could consider myself to be somebody that doesn't shrink or doesn't make themselves small. But I found myself in a place just like a week ago. So I was on the bus coming back from town. We're in Paris, and somebody got on the bus. They were absolutely in like plastered, absolutely pissed out of their head. And a guess would be that this person might have also been like alcohol dependent, or certainly had appeared to have like some level of like, you know, unbalance in their, you know, what was going on kind of thing. And they sat next to me on the bus, and I'm going to condense the story. I was having the conversation with Hebe, that's my middle daughter, and I said to Hebe, you know, intellectually, I knew I could have moved away. It's like, I can get away from this person. But there was a part of me that felt so unsafe. This person ended up falling on the ground. I ended up having to help them off of the ground. They threw their drink everywhere. They were being actually quite aggressive towards me as well. And I feel like I'm someone that can stand her ground. And even I felt myself thinking, I'm not safe here. I need to shrink. And it's so challenging, isn't it? Because it's not only that we've got this layer about the societal reward of being reasonable, of being nice, of being kind. The dark underbelly is sometimes we're doing that because it's keeping us safe. And
100%.
it's, oh my
Yeah.
God, like I came away from that experience and I was like, I actually feel mad at myself that I couldn't get, because I was like running through all the things that might happen. I was like, I'm wearing a short skirt. Such is my right in this moment. But I will have to physically climb over this person. Do I want to do that? What might happen? You know, it was so there's like another part of it is deeply rooted in our safety, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think it's always, I think even at the social societal level, when we don't want to be judged or when we want to be seen in a certain way, the root of it is kind of primeval. The root of it is
Yeah,
evolutionary. The root of it is I don't want to be the one that gets cast out of the tribe. I don't want to be the one that gets hurt. I don't
yeah,
want to be the one that gets killed. I don't want to be, you know, and that's deeply, deeply rooted in us. You know, I think that there's about four main fears that come from like our cave person self,
yeah,
and there's something like being poisoned is a big one, and we see that come through in a lot of the stuff in the food industry and things like that. We're still afraid of being poisoned.
yeah,
Being hurt, like cut, you know, physically
yeah,
hurt, that's another one. Being cast out of our
yeah,
group of
yeah,
people, that's another one. And then being trapped, so like trapped in a cave, shut in, that's another one. So we can see that these real sort of like evolutionary fears that we have, they do come out in us in so many ways. That fear of being hurt, cast out of the tribe, is very, very real, because for like hundreds of thousands of years that would have meant
yeah.
certain death. It would have meant certain death, right? It doesn't necessarily mean certain death in the same way now, but it would have done. So there's no wonder we feel that way.
You can't almost out intellectualize. You can't outthink a hundreds of thousands, billions of years old physiological response.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so like the question becomes then, well, okay, so if I can't outthink it, then what the fuck do I do? You know, what the fuck do I do? And then for me, that's where, and I talk about this in the context of visibility and in the context of self-expression and creativity, we need to work with the
Yeah,
body. Then it becomes a somatic experience. Then it becomes like a full fucking body experience. Because what I know to be true is that my mind, no matter how much I work on my mindset and all of that, my mind is going no fucking where unless my body's coming too.
exactly. People, I think people like generally, and I don't know whether you've noticed this, you know, the idea of mindset, the idea of like, you know, how you think impacts the way you feel and what you do and the actions that you take and therefore like the results you have, the life you live and all of that stuff. This is now really becoming, it's not an out of the ordinary conversation, right? It's becoming mainstream information, knowledge, concepts. But I think the piece, and I know that this was like a piece that dropped in for me a couple of years ago. The piece that was always missing was we knew that this was about caveman responses, etc., etc., etc. We were starting to get our heads around that, but there was a disconnect between like the thinking and the somatic piece, the body piece as well. And what I've noticed in my work, you know, for myself, but also like in with my clients and so on, is the more that we've brought that into it, the more the dots have been connected so powerfully. I just came back from
1000%.
Edison Festival in the UK, and one of the workshops that I did there, I went with a bunch of friends, but I did these 2 workshops with Amenti Movement. I don't know if you follow them, but they're absolutely amazing. I'll share their details. And it's all about the somatic experience. And we did this workshop on transforming your anger through movement. It was like, I knew it was going to be mind blowing, but I was literally moving my anger through my body, and I had like this, you know, conscious thought process of the thing that had really like come up for me during that process, the memory, the actual scenario that was coming through for me. And tears were just literally pouring out, like I had my eyes closed, and they were, you know, when it's almost pushed, the water of your tears is pushing your eyelids open. It was just unreal. And it was all through the movement. All of those things I know, I understand the experience, I understand what it did you know, for me, to me. I feel like I've moved through it and worked through it, but there was a layer in my body. And I think that is something that is missing.
I love that. I really love that. And it just ties in so well, not only with how I work, but how I'm living as the family. So my daughter's 15 now. When she was 2, we took her out of her nursery school in Brighton because they kept telling me that she was stubborn. And it turned out that they thought she was stubborn because when she was painting and it was time to go to garden time to play with the rabbits, she didn't want to. She wanted to carry on painting. So they labelled that as stubborn. So I thought, right, this is not the place for us at all. They also didn't approve of me breastfeeding her when she was coming up to 2 in the nursery. And I just thought, well, fuck this, frankly. So I moved her to a Montessori school in Hove. The core principle of, well, there's 2 core principles as I understand them. Number 1 is trust the child.
Yeah.
Because people want to learn. Number 2 is that we don't learn through our ears, we learn through our hands, through touching things, through our bodies, through experiencing things. And that's all the way from like preschool age all the way up to age 17.
Yeah.
And she's still in that system now at 15. So the idea that we learn through our hands and through our body, and that we experience change and transformation, that we go into the next chapter of our lives with the body makes so much sense to me. And yet it took me another 10 years to properly connect that in the work that I'm doing.
Yeah. I totally I totally hear you. My Hebe's actually 15, almost 16 as well, and we she started off in Montessori. We've got lots of things, lots of connections there. But no, it like you, even though it's almost like when you connect the dots, you're like, how have I like missed that? Because it was right under my nose that it was so obvious.
Yeah. And that memory, that muscle memory that we get to play with in the body is so potent and powerful. And I know this so well just from having been a clubber in the late 90s, that when I hear a tune now that I danced to back then, my body can almost automatically go back into the state of mind that I was at the time when I listened to that song in a pivotal moment of my life. So we know this, the body takes us there. When we smell something, you smell a particular type of fruit or a particular type of lemon or whatever, and suddenly you're back in Santorini on your holiday. You know that your body has this amazing memory, this amazing capacity. And so bringing that into the work that we do, I've just found so important when it comes to visibility. There's that saying that says, put your ass where your heart wants to be.
Love that.
And I love that. I can't remember who said it. Put your ass where your heart wants to be. Now, when you want to do something like to step into that next level of visibility, whatever the next level is for you, it's a full body experience. And so you have to do the unreasonable. And this is one kind of amazing thing that I've learned about this. And the singer-songwriter Aurora articulated this so brilliantly at Glastonbury 2024. She was on the stage in front of God knows how many, like 100,000 people or however many people are at Glasgow. And she stopped between songs just to tell people how uncomfortable she
Wow.
felt with the whole thing. And
Wow.
she said, you know, standing up here doing this is as uncomfortable as shitting in front
Yeah.
of you, right? And it feels like the most unnatural thing in the world. And the penny really dropped for me around something that I have been trying to articulate to my clients for the longest time, which is this: when you step into your next level of visibility, if you have the expectation that you can only do that if it feels good, if it feels real, and if it feels authentic, then you're not really going to
No.
do it because you're waiting for that feeling. It's like, I'm not going to jump into the swimming pool until I'm good at swimming.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. You've got to get your ass in the pool. You've got to get your body in there. And so for me, what I've realized is like one of the unfucking reasonable things that we need to do is to kind of take our body with us, go full bodied into things, even when it feels
Yeah.
ridiculously uncomfortable.
Yeah, totally. I'm looking at my phone because I wrote something down. I was literally thinking about this yesterday. Oh my God, I can't even find where it was, but I was like, if it feels edgy,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it right,
Yeah,
actually. If it
yeah,
feels edgy, you are doing it right because everything that you've never done before feels edgy. But what we do is we resist the edge, don't we? We resist the edge because every little alarm bell is going off inside saying
totally.
you're going to be stabbed, rejected,
Mm-hmm.
die. You
Yeah,
know, all of
it's
those
shut
things
in a
we
cage.
talked about. Exactly. All of those things are about to happen, so don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, Sarah knows this. Sarah's just saying, yes, like exclamation mark. But Sarah knows this because when we first started working together, there was so much of that. And it's so understandable, you know, that the amount of shame that's been piled on us for showing off
Oh,
or being too big for our boots or, you know, going on and on or talking too much. You know, that those layers
blowing
and
your
layers
own
and layers.
trumpet, etc.,
Yeah,
etc.
blowing your own trumpet. And then there's the, you know, there's the how much brigade. There will always be those
Yeah.
people who think that whatever you're offering is unreasonable. And this is why it doesn't hurt to do the unreasonable thing with things like your visibility or how you value your work, because there's always going to be some motherfucker who thinks it's unreasonable no matter what you do.
Unquestionably, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day and they were talking about their particular service. So I work with lots of doulas and midwives, and it was a midwife who was talking about her service. And an independent midwife in the UK, I work with a lot of midwives in the UK, you know, an average birth package is going to be around £8,000, right? And they were talking to somebody that they knew really, really well, who was financially well resourced. They had a really successful business of their own. You know, they were basically in a what, if we were looking from the outside of making judgments or assumptions, looking in, £8,000 to them was not an enormous amount of money. Except that person was like, why would anybody pay £8,000 for that? And they weren't being, you know, looking down their nose at the idea of an independent midwife. That wasn't the point. But the point that was being demonstrated was there will always be people, even people that have access to
Absolutely.
unlimited resources, that will not see the value of the thing that you are offering. And that's okay. Like, they're right and you're right as well,
Yeah.
because they get to decide what they value. You know, I value spending £1,000 on a pair of glasses. Somebody else doesn't value that. I wouldn't spend a fiver on a yoga class because I'm not interested in it. But I have a fiver to spend. Doesn't mean Do you see what I'm saying? It's like
And
value is in the eye of the buyer. It's
100%.
all a perception. So just because somebody can, like Jeff Bezos, he can access anything in the world, but he still gets to decide what he values.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, it's so much about your personal priorities. It really is about your personal priorities. You know, going back to the thing about education, I value that Montessori system that my kids are in so much that I will keep paying for that
Yeah.
until they're 17.
Yeah.
That's my choice. Other people would judge that and say, oh, well, she's a snooty bitch because she sends her kid to private school. There's a tiny, tiny fucks jar. Where is it? I call this my tiny fucks jar.
Oh my God, I need a tiny fucks jar.
That's where I keep my tiny collection of fucks about stuff that people think I shouldn't be doing because it's, you know, too privileged. See,
Perfect.
how many fucks are in there?
You won't be able to fit many. 0? Love.
But, you know, it's about priorities. But other times, of course, I'll be in, you know, Waitrose and I'll go, how much for that butter?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. It's like, and it's all subjective. I love to just basically say nothing's actually expensive. There's nothing that is.
It doesn't exist.
Nothing is expensive,
Yeah.
you know? It's ultimately just about how much somebody values it. And when the right fit comes along for your thing and you put that out there and you're willing to be unreasonable in some people's eyes, but for the right person, like Sarah said, that is perfectly reasonable because that's exactly what you want.
100%. And you know, there've been moments, and Sarah probably went through a couple of moments like this when she signed up to do one-to-one coaching with me, where she may have thought to herself, what the fuck am I doing? This is absolutely ridiculous. Am I actually mental investing this money in having conversations with this woman? I've had those thoughts. You know, the first coach I ever invested money with, I invested in a 10 grand package with this coach, but I didn't have the cash at the time. So I gave her 200 quid as a deposit. It was pretty much all I had in my business account at the time. And I thought, this is wildly insane. What am I doing? Am I completely out of my mind? Is she scamming me? Is the whole thing just some sort of pyramid scheme? Am I going mad? And, you know, within those 6 to 9 months, we did so much work, and the penny didn't drop on a lot of it until 3 or 4 months after we'd done it. I didn't actually know what she was talking about half the time until we'd finished the work. And now I think to myself, my God, that work that I did with her, I paid 10 grand for it over the period of like 9-month payment plan or whatever it was. And it's been worth hundreds of thousands of pounds to me in terms of personal growth, in terms of income that I got back, in terms of understanding myself on a deeper level, in terms of even knowing that I had the bravery and the courage to make that investment in myself. That has been massive. And then, you know, I went on and did further things with other people.
Oh, you're buffering.
Am I
Oh, you're back.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah, so that experience of making an investment in myself felt really unreasonable.
Totally.
It felt more unreasonable than, you know, spending money on a wedding. It felt more unreasonable than spending money on a nice place to live for some reason, because it wasn't normalized within the group of people that I knew.
Totally. My sort of experience of something like that was a few years ago. I had a similar situation where I was moving away from. So I'd been mentoring doulas and midwives. Sorry, not midwives. I'd been mentoring doulas and training doulas as well. And I had my own doula practice, and I'd kind of become an unofficial business coach for some of these doulas, instead of mentoring through the process of being a doula, being at birth and navigating all that. I was like supporting them to grow their visibility and their presence and all of that stuff, and actually like make some money doing what they want to do, you know, doing what they love essentially. But as I came to this realization that I actually can do this for a lot more people than just doulas as well, and was encouraged to do that by one of my mentors, I looked, right, where do I need, well, not need, where do I get to invest in some support to get me to that place where I can, like, not really pivot, but like open things up. And so I said goodbye to like regular income, if you like, through the training. So I was training for a provider, so effectively they were paying me, so that had a glass ceiling on what I could earn. And I was like, I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to invest that time that I get back in focusing on my business. But I also knew that I needed to invest some, you know, in some support around that. And so I took two times, I think, either double the amount that I'd earned in a month, and invested that in one call and 3 days of voice coaching with a coach that I was like, I know this person can open that up for me, can help me to see the blind spots, what it is that, you know, is between me and where I want to go. And that seemed so unreasonable. And like you with your investment there, that wasn't money that was just sitting around for me at the time. And I remember speaking to Keith, that's my husband, I was like, I'm going to take this out of our savings, because I know that even though this might not make sense right now, this is going to help me in my long-term vision. It didn't make sense immediately, but I can backtrack now the learnings, the understandings, the things that it helped me to move out of the way to where I am today. Like, I have recuperated that so many times over. But at the time, I remember my eldest daughter saying to me, what? And what do you even get for that? Like, I don't even understand.
Yeah.
It seemed so bloody unreasonable.
Yeah.
And it was such an edge as well. It was such an edge, but I did it, and absolutely, like, hashtag no regrets.
I really hear that, you know, and that's been my experience. And, you know, every time I have invested in capacity or support to take me to the next level, I have been shitting myself. I'm not going to lie. Every time. And every time I've done it, it has paid off tenfold. And, you know, another thing that I've learned about myself in the process of doing that is that, yes, I get really scared sometimes. Yes, I get nervous about making those investments. But the person on the other end isn't trying to trick me into it, you know. And I know that there's a few bad eggs or whatever in the
Yeah,
coaching industry and things
of
like that.
course.
But I trust my own intuition about people. I think I can tell when somebody's a piss artist and when somebody's genuine, right? I really, really trust myself on this. And the people that I've invested with have been amazing, and they've really supported me, even when they've triggered the hell out of me and I've thought for 45 minutes, I hate you, you're the worst coach in the world. It's only because they've spoken the truth, you
Yeah.
know, and they've pushed me to do unreasonable things. They've given me those nudges and those questions that I needed to hear, because the truth is, I can lie to myself so fucking convincingly about how I'm doing all the things. I can lie to myself so beautifully, you know, with such panache about how I'm making all the effort, about how it's not me, it's the market or the economy or it's my kids or
Yeah.
whatever the thing is. I'm very good at finding something to blame for why things aren't going my way. And so part of being unreasonable really is admitting that I need the support. I'm allowed to have the support. It doesn't matter if other people think it's completely wildly unreasonable. And this has also been about stopping asking for permission. In the early days of my business, whenever I had a thing that I wanted to invest in, I'd go and run it by my husband as if it was his business, right? And it's actually my business in my business, it's my business. And so there isn't that requirement in me anymore to run every single decision past him. And if I ever do catch myself trying it, he's like, what are you asking me for? I
Yeah.
don't know. You know, which is great, you know, and but uh, it's taken time to get to that point.
Yeah. um that initial sort of reassurance and, yeah, almost permission that I saw when I was making that investment, definitely was about, okay, this feels like it's our money, and I am putting it somewhere that is felt like, and I can tell you with hindsight isn't, and I know that he's sounds very much like your husband now. He's like, what do you mean? Like, this is literally, first of all, you're the CEO of your business, so like, why are you asking me? His like ultimate desire is just to be my PA at some point and bring me like coffee and food and like plan out VIP days for me. That's what he's going to be doing tomorrow. He's the map guy. But like, but in those first instance, and I think probably because at that point I didn't have like the support, I went there for that reassurance, you know, like,
Yeah.
is it unreasonable? And like I say, I'm really blessed because I've got somebody that supports me in all my unreasonable endeavors anyway. And now it's just a case of like, I think again, like in this going to an edge with stuff like that, every time you come to do something that's edgy like that again, where you're like, I think this is the direction I want to go, I think this is the support that I need to have, I think this is what I want to, you know, move towards, you just build the self-trust just is there because you've given yourself so much proof that no matter what it looks like, no matter how it pans out, you've got your own back on it.
100%. And there is something there about evidence. There is definitely something there about evidence. So, in the early days of me making these types of decisions, one of the reasons I was going to somebody else to sort of like run it by them and ask for permission was I had no evidence. I had no evidence at all that it was going to work. I had no evidence at all that I wasn't going to fuck it up. And when I invested in things early on, it wasn't actually that I was scared that the person wouldn't deliver. It was that I was scared that I wouldn't
Yeah.
deliver. You know, I wouldn't show up fully for whatever it was I was investing in, or I wouldn't make the most of it. And as you build up that sort of, it's almost like a vault of evidence in your favor, it gets easier and easier. And it's exactly the same thing with things like self-expression and visibility. We give ourselves
Yeah,
the proof that we need by doing it.
you do. That it's exactly that. It's almost like you get a credit score, don't you? You know, you get a credit score and you're just building on it, and it's either about self-trust or it's about showing up and being visible and everything's going to be okay, no one's going to die, and actually it's going to improve things and move things forward and stuff. So it is literally, it's as simple as that. You give yourself evidence. I mean, that's the basis of building trust in yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you do something and no matter what the outcome or result is, you give yourself the evidence that you're going to be okay, and B, you're not going to make that mean anything about yourself, you know, anything negative. It's only going to mean we tried it, we did it, we loved it, we learned from it. That, like,
Yeah.
you've won.
Yeah. And, you know, nothing beats your own evidence. Nothing beats your own evidence. And there will be a time where you don't have any of your own evidence and you've got to borrow somebody else's evidence that doing the unreasonable thing can work out. And that's where we have mentors. That's where we have role models. That's where we have people we look up to on the internet or in real life, because we need to just borrow that bit of evidence kind of on credit.
Totally. Done it myself and said that myself, you know. I'm just going to borrow your belief.
Yeah.
I'm just going to borrow your belief so that I can kind of say, okay, I can go on that journey of thinking, right, I'm not sure that I'm ready to say that I believe this is possible for me, but I can see it's possible for you, and I can see it's possible for other people. And so I'm just going to like tap into that, borrow that, put that on credit, and then slowly but surely, as you start to gather your own evidence, you're like, okay, actually, I don't just see that this is possible. I see that this is possible for me.
Yeah. There's a difference, isn't there, between possible for you, possible for me, probable for me,
Yeah.
inevitable for me, you know.
Yeah. You just, and that is built on that credit score.
What do you feel has been game changing for you in terms of doing unreasonable stuff? Like what is the audacious, unreasonable thing? And maybe it's not just one thing, maybe it's a thing that you have to return to again and again.
I mean, as I was saying at the beginning, I was like thinking about all the unreasonable things that I've done. And I think that, I mean, last night I was sat here playing blackjack with my son. We were in Vegas over the summer, my husband and I, anyway. We did a whole cheesy Elvis remarriage thing. We got married with Elvis and all the rest of it. And so while we were there, we brought home like some used packs of cards from one of the casinos and some casino chips. And last night, Sid and I were playing cards, and Keith calls me Las Vegas Lisa, because he's like, even though we've only been to Vegas twice, once on honeymoon and once literally last month, in July, should I say. And the kids were like thinking of it in terms of like gambling with like just money and so on. And Keith was like, your mum's a gambler, but she's not, you're thinking of a gambler as in like somebody who like will throw all the money in and let's see what happens. But I think it's about being a risk taker.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed when I look back at all the unreasonable things that I've done in my life, from, like I say, putting myself forward for things that, I mean, I remember the second time I put myself forward for a job when I was still like on the corporate, like 9 to 5 thing, was for this business analyst job. And again, it was a job that on paper I shouldn't have got. And the people around me were like lovingly laughing that I was being so unreasonable to go for this job. They were being kind, and there was no part of it was, who the fuck do you think you are? It was more like, Lisa is on one again, just like doing whatever the hell she wants, going for whatever the hell she wants, and like not giving a shit whether it works out or not. And I think that my track record has just been, what if it works? Just what if it works? And continue. And because I can trace it back now to being about 15, I think I've got such an amazing credit score on doing unreasonable shit and everything being okay, that there's not really been a pivotal moment. It's more been a exponential leaning into just how unreasonable I can be.
Yeah.
Like, it was so unreasonable to then walk away from that job that I did get as a business analyst, where I was being flown all over the place. You know, I was a single mom, but I had my kid in a private school. You know, I had a nice car on the drive, or I felt it was a nice car. It's like a throwback Vauxhall Tigra. I loved it, that car. And we were doing all the things. And then one day I walked into my boss's office and basically said, yeah, I'd like to take redundancy. I don't really know what I'm going to do, but I don't want to do this forever. And this feels like the perfect opportunity to take a leap of faith on me. So it's just been an exponential, and that like, people thought I had lost my mind at that point, because I had no degree behind me. I had nothing to fall back on other than like, I can do unreasonable things, and unreasonably amazing results will occur as a result of it. And if I hadn't have done that, if I hadn't have said, right, I'm just going to walk away with no plan, even though everybody thought it was crackers, like, I wouldn't have ended up meeting the guy that I just got remarried to 17 years after I married him, you know, the first time. I wouldn't have 2 more children. I wouldn't be talking to you today. I wouldn't have this business that I've grown that literally helps people to change the world and fill their bank account with money as well. So, like, for me, being unreasonable is fucking non-negotiable around here now. The more unreasonable, the better, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally feel that. And, you know, when I look back at old journals and things, and I think, what was my dream 7 years ago, 8 years ago? And I'm thinking of that period because that's when my second child was born. I had a new baby, and I was sort of going through it was almost like another puberty of who am I? What am I? Where am I? You know, and I think women probably go through about 5 of those.
Yeah.
And I said to my husband, you know, what I really want, if I'm really honest, because there was all this talk about 6 figures this and no. but I said, what I really want is you to be here doing the school run and making lasagna on a Wednesday and taking the kids to swimming or going to baby group and stuff, because I fucking hate doing that shit.
I hear ya.
And you know what? It's not that I hate it. It's just because I've got a big age gap between my kids and I've done it already. I've done it. And I was like, I love it that we've had another baby, but I don't know if I can do all of that again. You know, after like a 7-year gap between having children, like I don't know if I can go to the park and push the swing for another like 8, 9 years, because I think I might go mental. And I said, what I really want is you not to be at work, you to be here. That is the scenario now. He was a business analyst as well. Neither of us still even knows what the fuck that is. He didn't know what it
I
was.
listen, I don't.
So he was at PwC and Barclays and places like that doing that as a contractor, still didn't know what it was. Didn't have all the benefits of being a full-time employee either, because he was a contractor. They can literally go, you're out
Yeah,
next
done,
week.
finished. Yeah,
You're finished. You don't get any pay or anything. You're just
nothing.
gone.
You're gone.
Yeah, you're gone. And everyone forgets about you within a week. So that was the reality. And then when COVID hit, I just said to him, do you know what? I think I've got this with my business. Don't go back. And that felt like the unreasonable thing to do, because I had no evidence, no backup plan, no fucking idea if my business was going to work. And yet it was in making that decision and saying, do you know what? Let's do the unreasonable, mad thing. Let's throw away the lucrative city job and let's go with the sort of weird creative job that nobody even knows how to define.
Yeah.
And it's on me now, and that's the route that we've taken. And it's not always been easy, but it's possible. And if I can pave the way for other people to do that and see that as a creative visionary, you can get visible, you can get your stuff out there, you can define what makes you different, what I call your seal of distinction, the thing that makes you really different. You can actually become almost that category of one person that everyone's like, that's the person I want to go to. And you can make an abundant living out of that. You know, then my work here is done if I can be a guide to show other people that this is possible.
God, yeah. Like I feel like end the call there. That like that's it, isn't it? That's the
That's
dream.
it.
You like, I think there's so many similarities in the way that you're showing your people how that is totally possible, and my journey through my evolutions of, you know, the kind of mainstream 9 to 5, the big leap, the unreasonable like risks, all of that stuff, and then making something that society has traditionally said is really, well, it's basically, it doesn't give a shit about it, and that's why it's low paid. You know, that people, if they don't understand it or they don't give a shit about it, then it's kind of like written off, isn't it? But being the person, I think one of the greatest compliments I received quite recently from someone inside of my membership was, thank you for going first. Like, thank you for going first to show me what's possible.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful to see people on their path, because they've borrowed your unreasonable belief in yourself. They've borrowed my unreasonable belief in myself, and they've taken those steps and they've moved towards this, their dream, and they get to define what their dream is. Like you were saying, we define our dream. I remember somebody once saying to me, like, oh, it'll be so great, and one day you won't be living in a little flat in Paris. And I'm like, I've got absolutely no desire not to live in a little flat in Paris. What I want to create has got nothing to do with that. The spaciousness I want is in different places, and we get to define that. And that's being unreasonable as well, isn't it? Because you're like, I don't have to do the things that everybody, you know, that society is telling us are the markers of success, are the markers of you've made it, the markers of greatness. It's like, I decide my greatness.
I absolutely fucking love that, because my success looks like my success. Your success looks like your success. I want to support people to have that, but I don't want their success to look exactly like mine, because that would be weird. It would be creepy for a
Exactly.
start. If I was like, there's only one way to be a success.
Yeah.
You know, I've got no interest in a lot of the things that my clients see as their marker of success, and they probably got no interest in a lot of the things that I see as a marker of success.
Exactly.
And that's how it should be.
That's
We're
beautiful.
individuals.
That
Yeah.
is beautiful. Like, what a world.
Yeah. And there's so much available in this world if you are willing to do the unreasonable fucking thing, to be the unreasonable person who says, I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
Oh, we're
Amen.
done here.
Yeah. Like, finish. Oh my God. Yeah. That's it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love this, and I could talk about it all day. It's you know, just such a joy to have these conversations with people like you,
Yeah.
Lisa.
Likewise. Absolutely. It's so simple in so many ways, but I also know that, as we were saying earlier, the edges are sharp, the edges are scary, but the possibilities on the other side of the unreasonable are fucking unbelievable as well.
Yeah, 100%. You know, the life that you vision now, that you want, gets to be a reality.
Yeah.
It gets to be a reality. It gets to be unfucking reasonably amazing. And you will have to work for it. And it will be hella uncomfortable
Yeah.
sometimes. And you will have days where you're like, what the F am I doing? But it still gets to be a reality. Thank you to the people who've stayed with us to the bitter end and watched this. If you're in my audience, do go and check out Lisa's work, especially if you're in the world of birth and all of that. She is absolutely amazing. And then if you are somebody who is interested in having that wildly self-expressed visibility, where you actually get to be your creative self and bring all of yourself to the table, but you're not quite sure how you're going to step into that next level, then come and have a chat with me. Come and have a look at what I do, because I'm all about visibility. I'm all about creative expression. And the thing that Lisa and I have in common is that we want you to do the unreasonable thing.
Do it. Just do it.
Do it. Right, my love. Mwah.
Have a
It's been
great
awesome
day.
talking to you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.